gospel. Right. Anybody else want to take a crack at that? Yeah.
I don't remember where the verse is, but it was talking about in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh. Talking about basically how Christ was there from the beginning.
Yep.
Since creation.
John chapter 1.
That was beautiful. Could you repeat that to me? I'm not a scholar, but I just can't. What was that again? What did you just say?
I just said, I forgot what I said, actually. You threw me off. What I want to know is, if I don't think that Jesus was a prophet, or I don't think he was God.
Okay, so just so we're clear, which Jesus are we talking about? Are we talking about the Jesus that works over the Mexican place down the street, or are we talking about the actual the Jesus?
The Jesus of myth, the Jesus of...
Jesus of myth, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Or how about the Jesus of Christianity?
The Jesus of Christianity.
Yeah.
Who is the Jesus of Christianity? What do you think about that?
I think he's I think that I would say that he's a good person. He did some good things.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, and he had some good teaching, but not necessarily God in the flesh, or as you guys would claim that he's this object of worship.
That's very interesting. He's a very good person. You're talking a lot of good things about this guy. Wasn't he killed?
Yeah, well, maybe those people were just misguided.
People?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I understand, it was a state execution, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe they just got it wrong. I mean, they shouldn't have killed him.
Well, they did get it wrong.
Yeah.
Because the claim for the state execution was that he was raising up against Rome, right?
Oh, yeah. I think he was... I think they just misunderstood. He was a nice guy trying to do some good things, right? Wouldn't you guys agree? Didn't he do some nice things?
Did some great things.
Well, didn't he have some nice moral teaching, right?
Of course.
So he's just a good moral teacher. What do you say to that?
But then why did his own people have the problem?
Well, they just, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, in the Sanhedrin, when they had him arrested initially, why did they arrest him?
Well, probably because, he said some things that he shouldn't have said.
Like what?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. You tell me. I'm the skeptic.
Let me ask you, because you seem like a very knowledgeable fellow. I was talking to a guy. His name was Gregory Koukl, was his name, and he recommended you. And he was saying, he brought up this guy, and one of those really weird names. I believe his name was Israel Abrahams.
Okay.
In 1924,
Yeah.
he said that to the Jews, the Gospel of John was the greatest gospel to the Jews.
Why is
Out
that?
of all the, well, that's the question that I've been asking myself. Why is it? What is it in John specifically appeals to the Jews, as opposed to, isn't it, to everybody? Everyone says, well, Matthew is the gospel.
That's my favorite.
So why would that be?
I don't know. It seems like it would be the most offensive gospel to the Jews, just because Jesus claimed to be God in that gospel.
Really?
Yeah.
Like where?
I don't know. I'm a skeptic. You tell me.
Okay. Well, why do you think it was from a standpoint of being, what in John would preclude somebody from saying, this one's better than Matthew? I mean, what does John have that Matthew doesn't have?
I don't know about that, but let me ask you this question. I don't think the disciples really believed that Jesus was God. I think that that's something the church added to the gospel later in later centuries. How would you answer that?
So you're saying that it's been revised,
Yeah, sure, redacted.
revised over the centuries.
Yeah. How would you
Very
answer that?
interesting the way how you put it that way.
Yeah.
It's been changed.
Well, what's your answer to that?
Well, you said originally that Jesus, he was just a good moral guy.
Yeah.
But later, the church said he was God.
Right.
Okay. But they didn't really change claims. Or did they change the claims of,
Well, maybe they
of
did.
what he did?
Maybe they did.
Well, like what? I mean, give me an example of
Well, maybe they
something that would make him God.
Maybe they added the miracle stories to make you think that he was deity instead of just a nice prophet.
But aren't the miracle stories, aren't they kind of, for God, aren't they kind of,
Pardon me, gentlemen. Gentlemen, I was doing a little shopping, and I'm sorry, I overheard your conversation while I was doing some shopping. I happen to be an archaeologist, and I'm doing my research doctorate over at Eastern Washington University.
Okay, cool.
What I do is, my specialty of archaeology is Middle Eastern culture and things of that nature. And I heard you say that it appears that hundreds of years after the supposed Bible was written, I necessarily am not so much of a believer, but I am an archaeologist. And I noticed that you were saying hundreds of years later they changed and added texts and things.
Yeah.
This document that you're talking about is an interesting one because in my field we happen to catalog and research some of these scriptures that Christians talk about. To be honest with you, that just doesn't fly because we have some actual original manuscripts. I should say original copies. We don't have the originals. All the way back, dating to within about 60 years maybe, of the actual true writing. And strangely enough, they match what we have today.
But don't you think that time interval of 60 years is enough time for a myth to creep into the story?
Absolutely, there's no time for it.
So what kinds of myth? I mean, maybe what he was saying, going back to what he was saying, maybe all those miracle stories are later inventions. He's trying to tell me that they're not. And you're trying to tell me that.
Here's my point. Why is
Feeling a little ganged up on here.
why is it that these miracle stories supposedly happened 2,000 years ago?
Yeah.
Why haven't they been improved upon consistently?
I think they're pretty good, nice stories.
Yeah, but look at Spider-Man. I mean, the first 3 Spider-Mans were awesome. And then the 4th one already.
Okay, yeah. I have to agree.
But Thor, he was the son of God.
Sure.
He came out. I thought that was a great movie. My wife hated it. But, my point is, if Jesus was just some mythical invention of man, couldn't he have come up with something better?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And we certainly have come up with heroes. I mean, look at Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, Superman's all over in the U.S. And we've definitely improved upon him. Well, to some point.
You also need to understand that some of the people that actually saw and heard these things were still alive when these first writings started to come out. And these were the very people that were giving their lives for a myth.
Okay.
And you have to look at yourself and say, would I be willing to die and lose all of my possessions and watch my family be taken for something that I knew was wrong?
Okay, that's a good point. Everybody agree with that one? Okay, give these guys a hand. Thank you very much.